We have mastered, well, most of the time, mastered where we will both listen for the recording in progress. And that's when I know it's time to like start. So if that's where you saw me sitting here like this, it's me waiting to hear it straight up say recording in progress. So, all right. Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope everyone's had a restful week and weekend and then week, especially after daylight savings time. That's always a fun little change getting back and used to. But so for tonight, obviously, we're going to start with our numbers and we're going to go all the way. I'm going to say this, but do not stress. I promise it's not as bad as it seems. We're going to go all the way up to our millions. Okay. I knew you were going to make a face. I knew someone was going to make a face. I promise you, it is not that bad. A lot of them kind of get to the same sort of pattern and you'll pick up on that as we go. So do not worry. Do not stress. I promise. I just think it's really cool to say that. Afterwards, what we'll do is we have a few different like words that kind of go with numbers that we're going to talk about. And then if we have time, if we don't, it's totally fine. We'll start working on our time signs. So, but again, that's if we have the time for it. I'm gonna actually lower. I stack books to put my my computer on, and I'm like, I'm just a little too high where I don't think I can be seen better. So, of course, then that book slid off. Okay. Sorry, gotta fix it. There we go. That's much better. I feel like I was signing up here, and I was like, that's not gonna work when I actually have to sign numbers. So. Okay, so the first time we're going to do is the sign for the word number. So what you're going to do is you're going to have kind of like flat O's is what I say, and you're going to go number, number,
Yeah, numbers.
number. Okay. The first one we're going to do is the sign for zero, which I think is really funny because that one is the sign we've forgotten a hot while. Like we always will forget it, and then I'm like, oh wait, yeah, let me tell you this one. So the sign for zero is obviously zero. Thankfully, that's one we know. Then we have the sign for number one, one, two, two. Three is going to be our thumb, three. Four is four, five, five. Okay. So most of them are numbers we already kind of know we use anyways. The only difference between numbers zero through five are three. Three is the different one. Okay. So, and I like to say that what's helpful for that is you're picking up your fingers as you do it. So like I always like visually think about like how I'm just lifting my fingers up. I know that's kind of like may not be helpful. That's how I use it. And once you really master this is three, you can never go back. Like I genuinely mean you will never be able to go back because I get stuck to this day and I see
I
people
do
sign.
think this is a superior three.
It so is. It so is. I know that's just a matter of opinion, but that is so. I'm like, this is three. I don't know what else you want me to say. So, okay. Next, we're going to do is the number six. Six is what we typically see as three. Okay. So this is six. Then we have seven. Seven is going to be our ring finger, goes down with our pinky up. Eight is going to be our middle finger down. 9 is going to be our pointer finger down. And then 10 is going to be a thumbs up and you're going to shake it. Okay. So those are our numbers 0 through 10 all in one hand. What's helpful with the numbers 6 through 9 is visually think about you build your fingers up 1 through 5 and then you're heading back towards your thumb. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If that makes sense. If that doesn't, just smile and nod and just humor me. That's what I do is I'm like, if it doesn't help you, just got it and move on. If you have a skill, have a trick that helps you, go for it. Okay, let's go back. There's 0 through 10 again. So we had 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. I am going to add this here because usually this is around the time that people will ask this question. So I'm going to go ahead and already answer it. A lot of times people will ask me, how do you differentiate between the number 6 and the letter W? Because they are the same. Same goes for 9 and F. So what you do is really before all that, context clues are really important in signing. And so for example, if I'm talking about my name and I say my name is Florida. I don't know. I can never think of a W or an F name every time. But if I was going to say my name is Florida, like you would already know that this is probably meaning an F, not a number 9, because most of our names do not have the numbers in them. Now, if you were like the third or whatnot, that's a whole different story. But most of the time, we're not, if we're fingerspelling Florida, we're not saying 9LORIDA. It's FLORDIA. So a lot of times that context clues will come in. Like if you're giving someone your phone number, you can pretty much assume this is not a W, this is the letter 6. I mean, number 6. Goodness, I'm going to flip all this tonight. The number 6. Okay. But for those situations, like when you're giving like a username or password, things like that, that you need, that could be letters and numbers, the best way to separate that is to put the sign for the number first or the sign for the letter first. And what I mean by that is if I was saying, I'm trying to even think of something. Florida 719. Okay. Say that. I would go letter F, Florida 71 number 9. I would add that number sign right before it just to clarify you were talking specifically on the number itself. Okay. I don't know if we did the sign for letter last week. The sign for letter is an L and you tap it on your pointer finger. Letter. And this is talking about not like a letter like we mail and send to people, but like the letters themselves, like the alphabet letters. Okay. All right. Let's go back to our letters, our numbers now. So we stopped at 10. Now we're going to do 11 through 15. Okay. So 11 is going to be your pointer finger and you're going to flick it up. 11. Then we have 12. 12 is 2 fingers flicking up. 12. And I know everybody on the screen I see has got their hand facing this way. For those of you who I can't see, I'm just going to clarify this as well. It is really important you do have the back of your hand facing the person, not doing it this way. That can cause confusion. So you do want to have the back of your hand going this way. Okay. So 12. 13 is going to be your thumb out, fingers together, and you're going to go 13. You're going to do like the kind of come here motion. 13. 13. Then we have 14, 4 fingers up. You want to make sure your thumb is not seen, okay? And you're going to go 14. 14. Then we have 15. 15 is now with our thumb out. 15. Okay? All right, so let's do 11 through 15 again. So we had 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Again, the helpful thing with this is that it's the same amount of numbers up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all going to be similar in that concept. So that's a little helpful. I know the bouncing can be kind of confusing. I have seen some people accidentally do 12 this way. It's not the end of the world if you do that. 12 is really more this way. But if you were to do this, you could still figure out a way to get your point across or clarify that. It's not going to be something where like if you sign it like this and they're going to be like, oh, what did you say? No, it's not going to be anything like that. I promise. I try to like, that's one of my big things is when we have this classes, I try to like say, hey, be careful about this one because one little accident could be very rude or insulting. I try to give you guys those just so you have it kind of in the back of your mind in case of like an awkward conversation happens. you know why now. So, okay, we're now going to move on to our 16 through our 20. Okay. Now, 16 through 19, there are two different ways you can sign them. I typically, the way I've always kind of best described them is one is more like ASL 1, like level 1. The other is more like ASL 2. They just kind of change a bit. But I still see both commonly used. They kind of get changed a lot. So it's not like oh, I'm better than this, like, or there's no judgment there. I just call it that because I think that's how learning it, like how when I learned it in ASL 1, I learned it this way. And then ASL 2 was like, oh, you can also do it this way. So I just kind of give you both perspectives. Okay. The first one we're going to do is the more like the easier one. And it's going to be, you're going to make a 6 and then you're going to shake it. 16. 16. The more level 2 way is you're going to have your pinky bounce on your thumb. 16. 16. If you're like, that is not happening, shake it. I promise you, no one is going to be judging you. Like, they're going to know you're talking about the number 16. Oh, that's always like to give both this. Some people are like, oh, I prefer this one. Some people are like, I'd rather this one. It's a preference. It's a choice. So 16 or 16. The next one we have is 17. So you're going to do your 7, and it's going to do the same thing. 17 or 17 with your ring finger bouncing. 17. Okay. Then we're going to have 18. Same thing. 8. 18 when you shake it. Or 18 when you bounce your middle finger. 18. And then 19. 9. Shake. Or bounce. 19. I caught you doing 16, but I was like, I won't say anything. She was over here with her 6. I was like, I know she's not thinking right there. Was going through the motions. So 19. Okay. Then we have our 20. Our 20 is going to be baby shark. 20. 20. Okay. Let's go back. Let's do 11 through 20. And then after we do that, we're going to go 0 through 20. Okay. So we had 11. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. Then we had 16. You can choose whichever one you want to do. You do not have to do both of them if you'd rather not. 16 or 16. Then 17. 17 or 17. 18. 18. Or 18. And then 19. 19 or 19. Okay, and then our final one, 20. 20. Okay, let's now do 0 through 20. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to say it first and then sign it second. So that way it gives you guys the opportunity to have to think and then sign it before I do, okay? But if you're like, I have no idea, I am still going to come support you and sign it afterwards. So you can still catch up there too. So do not stress if you're like, I have no idea. Like, I just showed you guys this. I'm not expecting you to memorize and have this mastered immediately. Okay, so our first number is going to be the sign for, the first number is number 0. Then 1. 2. 3. Oh, good. Yeah. No, I didn't even see the immediate, like, oh wait, I gotta fix this. No, you all went 3 immediately. Yes. 4. 5. Yes. The only one that's different there is the 3. That's the only one that changes right in there. 6. 6. So it's going to be your pinky. Start at the pinky and work your way back. 6. 7. 8. 9. And then 10. 10. 11. 11. 12. 13. 13. You were in the right. I saw you had it ready. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm not sure anymore. 13. 14. 14. So 4 fingers together. 14. 15. 15. 16. There we go. 16. So 6 and a shake. Or the bounce, either way. 17. So 7, shake. Or 7 bounce. 18. So 8 and a shake. Or bounce. 18. 19. 19. Or 19. And then 20. 20. Just think baby shark. I know that's probably like, not everyone knows that, but that's all I think of when I see this is baby shark. Okay, so now for numbers 21 through, let's say 30 for now. Reason I say this, I'm explaining something. I'm not starting off right now with signing. So the numbers 21 through 30 are going to start having, we're going to start seeing the pattern that we're going to end up using for the rest of our numbers all the way up to our 99, okay? So thankfully, it starts to get kind of repetitive in the way that it's signed, and you don't have to worry too much about having a new sign for every single number all the way up. It's not like that. Sorry, I was hearing noises. I think there were kids outside playing, and I was like, what is that? Anyways, with that, so our 21 through 30, there's 3 numbers that are going to have actual like their own like sign, and then the rest of them are going to be the similar following this pattern. Okay, so we're going to start focusing on 21 through 25, and you're going to see the pattern I'm talking about. Okay, the first one we'll do is 21. 21 is going to be an L, and you're going to bounce your thumb. 21. Okay, 21. Then we have 22. 22 is going to be a 2, and you're going to go 2, 2. 22. Okay, 22. All right, then we have 23. So 23 is going to be a 3, and your middle finger is going to bounce. 23. Okay, 23. Then we have 24. 24 is going to be 24. So 2, 4, 24. And then 25. 25 is going to be a 5. You're going to have your middle and ring finger together, and they're going to bounce. 25. I think of this like Spider-Man. I don't know if any of y'all ever watched Spider-Man, but like that's always what I remember, like how he would like shoot his webs was using this. So I always think about Spider-Man. 25. Okay. So with those, I know the 3 are different, the 21, 23, and 25. Okay. But if you remember how we did 24, that 2, 4, that's the repeating pattern afterwards. So like 26 is 26, 27, 28, 29. Okay. You do not have to sign them all right now. I just was going to explain that. So luckily that kind of keeps going, and that's the follow of the pattern. So after about 25, you don't really have to learn a new specific sign, okay? So let's go back to our 21 again. So we had 21, the L, and then the bouncing, 21. 22 was 2, 2. You can also do 2, 2. This is typically like if you have doubles, you bounce down. Just kind of it's a smoother motion. But if you did 2 and 2, they would still understand you're talking about the number 22. So 22. 23 is going to be a 3 with the middle finger. 23. 24 is 2, 4, 24. And then 25. 5, middle and ring together and bounce. 25. Okay. How are we feeling of our numbers 0 through 25 right now? Are we feeling good? It's one of those, the thing with ASL for sure is the more you practice them, the more you will be able to, like, it comes naturally is the best way I say it. So do not stress, do not stress. This is your first time seeing it, no worries. Okay. Now, like I said, for our repeating patterns of the two kind of that bouncing 26, 27, 28, 29, that, like I said, is going to continue. So, but the one thing I was going to add is our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Okay. They're even simpler than 90. Okay. They are so simple. It is just, I had to think what number we were on. Sorry, that was me going backwards in my head, like what numbers we were, because I had ended up saying 90. So I was ready to go ahead to 90. I was like, no, we need to go back to where we were, which was our 30. That was just me backing up. Sorry. 30. So what you do with the 30 is 3 and pull it back into a 0. 30, 30, 30. So it's not like you have to do 3, 0. You just pull it in. 30, 30. Okay. 30. 40 is 40, 40, just comes into itself. 40, 50, 50, 50. 60 is 60. It's like you kind of change. See, I always start off by saying 60, and then I later will catch myself. I slightly change my 6 to like where it's flat like this, and then go on top. 60. Okay. Then we have 70, 70. You just bounce the through fingers. 70, 80, 8, bounce 80. And 90, 90, 90. So they're very simple. Do not think they're too complicated when it comes to the tens, the multiples of tens. Okay. They're very simple, all in their one motion together. But if you did end up forgetting like 90, you can't just do 9 and 0. You can do that. Like, it's not like they're not going to know what you're talking about. This is just the smoother version of 90. Okay. So we're not going to go through all our numbers all the way up to the 99. We're not. Okay. Because like I said, it's that repeating pattern. So I'm going to just show you a few different numbers just so you see. And then we're going to move on to our hundreds. Okay. So if I were going to say 34, I would go 34, 34, 34, 34. It just starts with 3 and then goes to the 4. 34. Okay. 82 would be 82, 82, 82. So 82. Let's see. 55 would be 55. So that 5 more down, like I said, all the doubles would kind of come bouncing flatter like this, 55. But if you did 5, 5 too, that would not be the end of the 55. And then 99, 99, 99. I just think it's very cool that you can go up to, really, we can go to 999 just using our single hand. I don't know. That's like one of my favorite like party tricks. If people ask me about ASL, I'm like, oh, I can count up to 999. And they're like, what? And then I just start counting and they just get shocked. I don't ever have to go to 999, but I can just be like, I brag a little bit about it. I think it's the coolest thing. So now you'll know. Okay. So our next thing we're going to do is the hundreds. And what's really nice with the hundreds is that you add this one motion to the number and that's it. What I mean by that is if you're talking about 100, it's one and then you pull it back into a C, 100, 100. And you do want to make sure you do go back, 100, 100, 100. It's like a C. I know my finger doesn't go all the way down. That's just, it gets kind of lazy, but it's supposed to be more of a C, 100, 100. Okay. And that's also just this general sign for 100 is 100. So I don't think anyone was going to ask that, but I'm always like thinking, what kind of questions am I going to get? So I just go ahead and answer some. And then we have 200. So 200 is going to be 200, 200, 200. Then 300, 300, well, 300, 300. 400, 400. 500, 500. 600, 600. And then 700, 7. Then 800. I know. I'm making us do all of them. I usually don't make my other classes do this, but I'm like, we're going to go through all the way through. 800 and then 900. 900. Okay. So when you are doing a specific number that is mixed with, has like tens, ones, hundreds, like 123. Okay, we'll do that. I always like to kind of do a simple one. What you do is you're going to do the hundreds first, so 100, and then you'll do 23. Okay. So you basically are going to do it in the order that you starting off the highest and working our way back. So 123. Let's say it was 456. That one's a little bit better because 23 is its own sign. So if you were doing 456, you would go 456, 456. Yes, good. I saw you. I saw you think you had to like close your eyes and be like, wait a minute, I need to like move my hands so that yes. I was gonna say once you know pretty much your numbers 1 through 25, it gets a lot smoother when you get into those bigger numbers like the hundreds and thousands and millions. Okay. So I'm not gonna I'm gonna show you guys that, but I'm not gonna like enforce it as much because you have to know the basics of 1 through 25 first before you can start getting faster with our numbers. So, but that's how you do your hundreds, which is how we can do 999. All on one hand, 999. Again, favorite thing. Okay. Now for the thousands, okay? This is when we do need our non-dominant hand, all right? You're going to have it palm up. You're going to have your dominant hand in that pointer finger position, and you're going to go 1,000. And I'm touching the base of my palm, okay? So 1,000, 1,000. And this is going to be this is going to be the same motion we're going to do for all of them. So 2,000. 3,000. Okay. I'm not going to make us do all the thousands. Don't worry. I made us do all the hundreds. I'm going to be nice and not make us go all the way up for the thousands right now. If you were talking about 100,000, all you would do is go 100,000, 100,000. Okay. I say, think about how we voice it, how we say these numbers when we're saying them out loud. 452,973, blah, 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 blah. We say it, that's kind of how you're going to say it, that 432,563. Okay. So you just follow the way. I mean, hear yourself say it in your head, basically. Don't always try to voice when you sign. That makes it can get complicated fast. But Think about how we say numbers, and that usually is how I'm able to help myself process how I'm putting in a big number, especially when it's like the 100,000s like that. Okay. The last number we're going to learn is the sign for million. Okay. Million is going to be, wow, sorry. The sun is setting at that awkward age, right? Awkward stage right now. So it's like the lighting is getting darker, and I'm like trying to make sure you guys can still all see me. So your non-dominant's palm up again, dominant's in that pointer finger, and you're gonna go 1 million. So I'm gonna show it sideways so you can see. I bounce at the base and then right where my fingers become my palm. So 1 million, 2 taps, million, 1 million. Yep, and that's a million. So again, same pattern that we've done with the other numbers. You can just add on to it. I saw you going 9 million, 9. Yes, exactly. And so that's always really cool is how many numbers we can just, it can be it's very smooth process the more you practice. I do like to say this story. I'm going to add this story real quick because I do think it's really funny. One of my favorite things working with deaf kids is that when you are talking with them, you will see, I feel like a lot of people, especially if they've not been around deaf kids before, or anybody who's got a slightly different language than ours, it's always a little bit like they don't expect the same characteristics as typical kids. So for example, you know how a lot of kids, when they're talking about their grandparents and they say, well, my grandma's 1 million years old, or she's blah, 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 or they age you like crazy. They do them to me too. I mean, I've been called 63 before, and I was like, now I know I do not look that old. And they're just like, it's them being funny. Deaf kids do the exact same thing. And it's one of my favorite things to see because I had this one kid, he was talking about his grandmother and he's talking about how old she was. And he went, she's 1 million. And then he pretended it just kept bouncing. So it was like when we hear like kids will say 1 million, trillion, zillion, billion, they keep saying all these numbers. Same thing. They were doing it in ASL. And I thought it was the funniest thing. And I told him, I was like, that is rude. That is not how old your grandma is. That was funny. So I love seeing just like kids having play with like different words and things like that. And it's just one of my favorite stories is he just kept pretending like it never stopped bouncing. So just a little fun story. Okay, let's go back through our hundreds, thousands, and millions signs real quick. Then I'm going to leave it open if you guys have questions for numbers. If we're good, we'll go on to a few signs with numbers and then touch base a little bit of time, just a little bit. I promise we're not going to go full all the time. Okay. So let's go back to our sign for the number 100, which was 100. Yeah, 100. I think if I'm correct on my Roman numerals, 100 is a C, correct? Isn't that the case? Yeah, I think so. I think the Roman numeral for 100 is the letter C. So think about that. Like I just think about the Roman numeral. Like that is how it helps me with the C, 100. Okay. Then we had 1,000. So 1,000. So one tap is 1,000 again. 1,000. And then 1 million. 1 million. The double tap, million. Million. Okay. How are we feeling on numbers right now? Feeling good? Could use some practice. No, I have no idea what numbers are. I have lost everything on this. I would hope no one would do a thumbs down. Yeah, I was gonna say numbers, they feel a lot more complicated because there are so many patterns to follow. But like I said, practicing them really helps. One of my favorite things I like to do is when I'm like sitting in like a waiting room or I'm bored somewhere, is I start to count on my hand just randomly. I mean, I literally will go all the way through. I know you may look like a crazy person to others, but it's how I was able to get my numbers so fast. Is I would just keep counting all the way up and see how long. And same thing I said, I think last week when we were talking about the letters of the AB, like the ABCs, is if you're sitting somewhere, is just finger spelling the different words you see. I really emphasize, like, I recommend for your numbers and your ABCs, just practicing whatever you see. It really helps like with that smooth fluid signing. Like I said last week, same thing with the numbers. It really helps you think about how you would apply these numbers and how you would sign that. Like I almost like to think to myself, how would I sign this number to get my point across? How would I say this number and things like that? So that's my recommendation. Does anybody have any questions about numbers? Anything like that?
Hey, mine isn't exactly a question. It's more of just a little note. So I've just always subconsciously did three as this when I'm counting with my fingers. I didn't even know that was the sign for three. Yeah.
No, that's honestly, you're lucky. You're lucky on that because I had this, and I cannot tell you how many times, like when I was learning ASL, I had to like forcibly put this hand down and stick this thumb up. It's like you were,
Also, oh, sorry.
no, you're good. I was gonna say it's like you were already ready to learn ASL.
Yeah. I think what started me doing this instead of this was
Mhm.
because when I was like 5, my mom was teaching me ASL. I've forgotten most of it.
Mhm.
And I think that might have been from that, maybe.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely, for sure. You don't ever realize how so I'm gonna try not to go too crazy deep into this, but I love talking about this stuff. Is when a baby is born and when a baby is growing pretty much from the age of 0 to 5, there we have what's called it's called plasticity in our brain. It's basically our brain is so flexible right now and it's just wanting information. It wants to learn. It does not matter if it is through spoken language and speech, like vocal, or if it's signs, it does not care. It does not matter. It wants something. And so, what's really cool is a lot of times when you have kids that are really young, if you expose them and sign and talk at the same time, they'll pick up on both. Like, our brains are so flexible at that age. We just want so much information that is like, doesn't matter what it is, give it to me. Like, your brain is literally like, I don't care, I want it. So, like, if you taught Spanish and English at the same time to your kid growing up, that's how they're able to flip back and forth between Spanish and English so much, is because it's already been taught so early when their brain was so willing to take as much information as possible and keep it. So there will be things that you will have learned when you were young, and even if you forget it, it's like there are certain things like that where the number 3 has always stuck to you that this is 3. And I love hearing stuff like that because I'm just like, yes, that just shows how cool language is and how language can just pick up on it like nobody's business.
I just want to say one thing as a matter of practicality. I do not understand why people, like all people, don't just learn the basics, alphabet, whatever. Because we were at a concert maybe 6 months ago, and my kids had gone like to get snacks or whatever. And they came in the wrong door and I could see them. But you're in a concert hall, you can't yell, but they could see my hand and I could sign. And then I thought, why haven't I always been doing this? Like, you know, it's so easy.
Oh yeah, no, that's my favorite thing to do. My sister knows the ABCs. And so if we are trying to like I remember when we worked at our summer camps together and if we're trying to communicate with each other like across the gym and it's just
Across
you
screaming kids.
yes, it was so loud in there, you couldn't hear anything. I would just start finger spelling to her, and she would go, "Oh god," like, I'd be saying, like, "So and so is leaving, like, they need their mom is here," and I would finger spell, like, the name, and she goes, "Oh," and she'd go get the kid, and it was simple as that, without me having to walk all the way over there or deal with this, like, I could just finger spell it from a distance. It's always like I always am like, "Wow, this is so helpful." It
It's like a
actually
superpower.
it is. The only thing that sucks is when you're not with people who know ASL or ABCs even, and my first instinct is if you can't hear me or I can't get my point across, I immediately translate into ASL. It is a kind of a problem. I will be with friends at a very loud place and I just start signing. Like it's like my instinct is like I can't you can't hear me, I can't hear you, ABCs, ASL, everything. And they're like, I don't know this. I don't know ASL. And I'm like, how do I tell you what I need to tell you without signing it? And I still sign it. I will just talk while I'm doing it. And it's a whole thing. But that's me. So, but yeah, I always think ABCs, learning the ABCs is just at least a great starting tool, even for babies. And what's actually really cool is there's some some scientific like facts about babies that learn ABCs. I keep saying ASL, I flip them, but learning ASL when they're young like that actually can help improve with their language abilities later, even with English itself, like spoken language. I think a lot of people will think sometimes, oh, like, no, that might confuse their English like English. It actually doesn't. It can improve it. And one of the cool things is like when they're age 2, and we hear about the terrible twos, and it's because a lot of times these babies, these toddlers, they are trying to express themselves and tell people what they want, like tell their mom, I want milk, I'm hungry, or things like that, but their mouths have not formed yet enough to get the speech sounds. So they're babble, and then we don't understand what they're saying. And I think that a lot of times the kids get frustrated because they're like, you're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm trying to tell you. And so they get frustrated, and that's when they cry and will have the meltdowns. Well, sometimes if you have ASL, that can help lessen that because they can already do the sign for milk. Like their hands, their fine motor skills are kind of good at that point, or getting better. They're better than their speech. At least that's from what we've, like, the research has shown a bit, that they can sign the word milk before they can voice the word milk. And so they can still get their point across to their mom or their dad or whoever about what they need, which I think is very interesting. I don't know. I'm trying not to go full deep and like, oh, let's talk about all of the development. But I am a teacher, and that was one of my favorite subjects in class to learn at college, was literally learning about development of children. And so I always think that's just fascinating. But yeah. So there's your little history information lesson right there. I know that's not what you're here for, but it comes in hand with everything. Okay. So let's do a few signs related with numbers real quick. They're not going to be too complex. They're only, oh my gosh, I keep trying to say mostly and mainly, and my brain keeps putting them together. They're mostly kind of related with like money, like if you were going to buy, or you needed to pay, or anything like that. Okay. So the first sign we're going to do is the sign for dollars. Okay. And so actually, we'll do the sign for money first. I changed my mind on that last minute. Sorry. Okay, so the sign for money is you're gonna have your palm up, and you're gonna have kind of like a flat O again, and you're gonna tap it. Money. Money. I think about how, especially in those old movies, whenever someone has a wad of cash and they just like slap it on their hand, like, look at my money. That's what I think of. Money. Okay. Then we have dollars. Okay. So for dollar, I'm going to show you $1. It's the same thing for dollars. Again, it's that similar concept of 100,000, a million. So $1. So it's like my non-dominant is sideways. Dominant's going to pinch the edge and slide off. Dollar. Okay. So $1. And you do want to make sure your fingers are close if you can, and then pull it like that. Yeah. Dollar. Okay. Then we have cents, like coins, not like your senses. And so for cents, it's basically the way you do it is you're going to tap your head right here. Okay. I'm going to show you, but now I'm going to show you how you use it. All right. So this is like cents. But if you were talking about it being a quarter, 25 cents, all you would do is tap and pull to the 25. 25 cents. 25 cents. So the nice thing is we don't have to learn a new sign for penny, nickel, dime, and quarter. They're all just here. Penny. Okay, so 1 cent. A nickel, 5. And then a dime, 10. 10. Okay. So it's just adding that cent, that little cent there. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is the sign for decimal. Okay. Now, I know some people are like, well, I don't know about need decimals. If you were talking about money and you were trying to say it's $12 and you didn't want to sign cents, I mean, you could do 25 cents, $12, 25 cents, but you could do 12.25 as well. Decimal is decimal. Kind of goes back and forth on like you click and then tip, like boop, little prick, boop, boop, decimal. It's like, and I know it's hard to tell, but my finger stays pinched the whole time. It's think about like almost like you're holding a pencil and you're like tapping the decimal. Decimal. Okay. So if you're saying it's $2.35, so $2 or I do $2.35. But if you were going to do it this other way, the decimal would go 2.35 or 2.35. Does that make sense? I know I'm trying not to do math lessons with this because I know decimals can get a little bit more on the math of everything. But I'm trying to go slow on my decimals. I know my decimal can kind of, I keep interchanging it of just pointing, like tip, like doop, versus the like adding to my hand. Both work though. Okay. All right. Let's see. We did all our numbers. I'm trying to see what else, because I know we have like 13 minutes left, but I don't want to like start something too big. Let's just start a little bit of time, just a little, okay? I promise. We're not going to do too many, okay? We could actually just do the days of the week. I think that's simple for now, because that's another pattern that just follows suit, okay? We're going to start first with our Monday, all right? And go Monday through Sunday. So for Monday, what you're going to do is you're going to do an M. You're going to turn it so the back of your hand is this way, and you're going to go in a circular motion, Monday, okay? Monday. So an M, yeah, so it's an M, and you turn it back and you circular motion, yeah. Monday. Then we have Tuesday, which is going to be a T, backhand, circular motion, Tuesday. Then we'll have Wednesday, W, back of your hand, circular motion, Wednesday. There you go. And then, so for Thursday, it's technically supposed to be like the H, but it is kind of angled up a little bit higher like a U. So you're going to go Thursday. Okay. Then we have Friday, which is going to be an F. Turn it again and then go Friday. Friday. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does it matter if you go clockwise or counterclockwise?
No, it does not matter too much on it. I typically had to think for a minute. I have to stare at it. I go clockwise, but like I think that's just a natural thing I do. If you went backwards like this, it's not going to change it. It'll still be the date. And then our last one of this little group, because Sunday's the one that's different. Saturday, which is going to be that S in your circular motion again. Saturday. Okay. So Monday through Saturday are all going to be the first letter, well, besides Thursday, the first letter, and you just make it in a circular motion, okay? Wait. Let's see if, I think Miss, let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to unmute you. I do not know how to do that. You can type it in the chat too, if there's, I'm going to take a guess.
Dottie, I was clicking ask to unmute, but some of my computer is acting funny. But yeah, if you type in the chat, that should.
I was also going to say, are you asking about how do you tell the difference? Like, how would you know the difference from the back of your hand? I don't know if that was your question, but I'll let you figure, like, if you can type it, that'll be perfect. If not, that's totally fine. You can always email us later and we can mention it again. Monday. Okay, Monday again. So it's an M. I don't have, see, usually I have my nails painted and you can see where my fingers are sticking out, but unfortunately they're not painted right now. So if you see my little thumb is right here, okay? So I'm doing the M with 3 fingers over, turn it, and then circular motion. Yes. But what I was gonna say about the Monday through Saturday, how you would tell the difference between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like mainly Saturday and Monday. What's helpful for this is look for 3 fingers kind of sticking up. You can tell like I have a thumb sticking here, like my pinky is down. That's how you can kind of really look for the Monday. And then Saturday is very clear, like it's not, there's no fingers like sticking up as much. It's all kind of resting Saturday. With time, that's caught easier as you go on. Okay. Now, our last day is going to be Sunday. And Sunday has 2 ways you can do it. Either one works, it's just a preference, really. The first one is going to be 2 hands like this, and you're going to go Sunday, like circular motions. And this one also does not matter if you go up or down. I think I always go up, but it's not a big deal if you go either way. So Sunday or Sunday. Sunday. And I think really more people do it with their right hand. I'm left-handed. That's why I always instinctively go this way. It's not like if I did it left-handed and went this way, it would cause problems. It's still Sunday. I just want everyone to know, like, it's not just me being like, it's not like you have to use your left hand, if that makes sense. It's more of a dominant hand for this one, Sunday. Okay. Let's go back to those real quick, and then I'll leave it open for any final questions or comments, and then we'll be done. All right. So we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you don't have to make this sticking it out and then turning it. I'm doing that so you see what hand shape I'm doing. Most of the time it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that same position. You do not have to stick your hand, like show a W and then turn it back and circle it. Nah, you just go straight into the circle. That's just me trying to show you what hands I'm doing. So we had Friday and then Saturday. So the S and turn around Saturday. And then our Sunday. Sunday or Sunday. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the days of the week? Or anything else related to tonight's class or anything else that you're curious of? I will say we are going to learn more about the days of the, not days of the week, more time related signs next week. So if you have any questions about those, we will get to them, I promise. Okay.
I was wondering what, could you show 20 again?
So 20 is going to be 20. And actually that reminded me, I want to add this here. I'm not teaching this. I'm showing you as more of an exposure moment. And the reason for that is because I don't want you to go out and if you start signing or if you see someone and you start signing them numbers and they tell you differently, or you see them sign something different, that it's like there's a reasoning behind it. And what I'm talking about is specifically the 20s, okay? Some people, instead of doing the 2, they will do this L. So like 24, instead of it being 24, they'll go 24, 24, okay? 26 instead of 26, 27, 28, 29, that sort of thing. It is more, that is still also a preference kind of deal. I see this one and this one pretty much equally. I see both of them. I will admit, I now do this. I did not. When I learned it, I was all 26, 27, 28, 29. And then over time, working with kids more, I've caught that I've made the transition to 29 with my little L here. So I say this because there have been classes where I've taught, 26, 27, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll say something like, oh, it's like $27. And I go 27. And I've seen people kind of go, like they kind of get thrown back, like, wait a minute, you told me 27 and I changed it on them. It is a sign that is also used for 20s, is this little hand shape here too. Do not stress about needing to know it. I just wanted to mention in case you see it and you're like, I have no idea what that is. It's still 20. It's still talking about the twos. It's
I'm
just a
glad
slang.
you I'm glad you said that because that's the way that I learned it 20 something years ago.
But
So
and
I
I
was
always
confused.
Oh yeah, well see, and that's why I'm like, because I think what typically will happen is, at least when I was learning ASL, is that they start with the twos and do it like this, all the twos like this, and then it's again almost like that ASL 1 and ASL 2 kind of deal, where ASL 2 will start with adding this, but both are accepted. It's not like, okay, if you do this, they're going to judge you and look down on you. Like, no, it's the same concept with the 16 and the 16. It's just kind of a preference that comes to that point. And so but I always sit there and I think about it because I have a tendency to start with the basics of doing the twos like this. And then I catch myself later on signing in this class going 24, whatever. And I'm like, I probably confuse people when I do this. I need to clarify. So, but yeah, that's what I was going to add there real quick about the numbers for the 20s is they do use this shape sometimes. Any questions or comments, anything of that sort before we finish? I know it's getting dark. We're gonna get to this awkward point where it's too light when we start class, and then it becomes too dark when class finishes. We have this problem a lot, and I always sit here and I have to question, do I need to turn on a light or not? Which is why I think getting closer to my screen is I'm like, the brightness will save me here. But
It's all good.
okay, perfect.
Me. You
I
go.
was I heard you. I hear you now.
Earlier, we was trying to find my mute thing, and I just realized I was on my other computer. I do it with my finger. Here, I do it with this, and I just picked up the mouse and said, "Oh," and I went and clicked it. Here I am.
Well, now we know.
Oh
Now
my
we
gosh.
know.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna finish. We're gonna end here today. Next week we'll do our time. I will kind of give you guys a heads up. Time is a lot of signs. We're kind of starting to get into the more content heavy classes. Just as a heads up, that's kind of typically how our classes go. We start very kind of slow with our smaller kind of content with the ABCs and numbers. And then as the weeks go on, we get more and more. But
And
the
I was
thing,
going to say also one other thing. I
Mhm.
sent the colors video out last time. I'm going to send the colors video out again with tonight's lesson. When I send the link for that, I'll send the colors video. And then we also have a numbers quiz that we put together. So I'll send that out as well and just see how you do on that. But I'll send out the colors video for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Because once we do start getting into descriptions and places and things like that, the colors come up
Mhm.
as part of those descriptions. So if you'll go over those, that would be great. And I think that's it.
All
That's
righty.
all.
Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your. Oh, do you have a question?
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
So was there a lesson that I missed where we were going over colors, or is this just like a
No.
video?
No,
Okay.
the colors video is just like 3 minutes
Uh,
of Jillian giving us, I think it's like 6 or 8 colors, something like that. And
It's the basics because the way colors work is it's the basic colors, and then when you get to more specific colors, it kind of changes or it gets to be where you have to spell them. So instead of
yeah, like
trying
your
to
finger spelling chartreuse,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to figure out
And
how
good
to
luck with that. No, I'm
use
just
it
kidding.
in a class, I just went ahead and signed a video of me signing the colors. So that way it's already ready and saved. And so you can watch that. That was not we kind of have that as like a side thing.
Mm-hmm. Because
But if you,
like, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, but if you do have a color that you're like, okay, I saw the colors, how would you sign this color? You can always ask. Like you do not always have to
Mm-hmm.
ask questions during class, like our classes. just only on what we're talking about. Like I leave it very open. If you have questions, even if you're like, I know this is not what we're talking about, but I'm curious of, you're more than welcome to ask me. So if you watch the colors and then you're like, can you clarify this sign for this color again? Please let me know and I can clarify or explain how I would sign this, things like that.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything. We
Yeah.
just added, we just sneakily added things.
You do.
Okay, so I think we're good. I'm gonna upload these videos and send y'all an email.
One more thing. Yes.
Yeah, just beforehand, if I get any colors wrong, I'm colorblind or
Mhm.
red-green colorblind. So if any color gets mixed up, it could be that, or I might just be bad at describing the color.
That's really good. I actually, when we talk more about it, I can help you with clarifying that you're colorblind in case you wanted to make sure that was put a point. So if like you're talking to someone and they're like, "No, don't you see this color?" Like I can help you with how you can like kind of sign saying I'm colorblind, I have a hard time seeing, blah 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 blah. I can do that. So we can definitely work on that at one point. All right, awesome. Okay. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week, and I will see you guys all next Tuesday. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.